The high-end firearm auction market in 2026 reveals a fascinating truth. Certain revolvers consistently generate bidding wars, shatter estimates, and create intense competition between major auction houses. These aren't just rare guns, they're revolvers with specific attributes that drive wealthy collectors to bid aggressively regardless of price. Today, we're counting down 9 revolvers that auction houses actively compete to consign. Understanding what makes these revolvers so valuable reveals the intersection of rarity, provenance, condition, and historical significance that creates investment-grade firearms. These are the revolvers that make auction records and redefine what collectors will pay. Number 9. Colt Single Action Army Factory Engraved, pre-1940. Starting at number 9 is the factory-engraved Colt Single Action Army from pre-1940 production, representing the pinnacle of American revolver craftsmanship. Factory-engraved first-generation SAAs at auction regularly sell for $50,000 to $300,000, plus depending on engraver, condition, and provenance. These aren't theoretical prices. Major auction houses including Rock Island Auction Company, Heritage Auctions, and James D. Julia routinely feature these revolvers as headline lots. Factory engraving transforms an SAA from collectible firearm to art object. Colt employed master engravers including Kuno Helfricht, Wilbur Glahn, and others who hand-engraved revolvers with intricate scrollwork, figures, and scenes. Each engraved SAA is unique. No two patterns are identical. This uniqueness combined with Colt's legendary status creates extraordinary value. Engraving coverage determines value significantly. A coverage or light engraving commands premiums over standard SAAs. B coverage or moderate engraving commands higher premiums. C coverage or extensive engraving covering most surfaces commands the highest premiums. Full coverage engraving with gold inlays can double or triple values. Specific engravers dramatically affect value. Kuno Helfricht, Colt's master engraver from 1871 to 1921, created work that's instantly recognizable and highly valued. His engraved SAAs routinely exceed $200,000 at auction. Other period engravers, including Wilbur Glahn and later masters, also command significant premiums. Condition is critical but assessed differently for engraved guns. While collectors prefer high original finish percentages, engraved SAAs, showing honest wear but retaining crisp engraving details, command strong prices. Re-engraving or altered engraving destroys value. Originality is paramount. Caliber, barrel length, and configuration still matter. Factory-engraved .45 Colt SAAs with 7.5-inch barrels command highest prices. Rare calibers with engraving can command premiums or discounts depending on collector interest. Sheriff's models, which feature a short barrel and no ejector rod, with factory engraving are rare and valuable. Provenance multiplies value exponentially. Factory-engraved SAAs with documented ownership by historical figures, lawmen, outlaws, or celebrities command enormous premiums. Authentication through factory letters and expert evaluation is essential. Fakes and altered guns exist in this price range. Auction houses compete aggressively for quality factory-engraved SAAs because they guarantee strong bidding, attract serious collectors, and generate publicity. These revolvers regularly exceed estimates by 50 to 100% or more when multiple wealthy collectors decide they must own specific examples. Number 8. Smith & Wesson .44 Hand Ejector First Model, Triple Lock, 1908 to 1915. At number 8 is the Smith & Wesson .44 Hand Ejector First Model, known to collectors as the Triple Lock, manufactured from 1908 to 1915. Triple locks in excellent condition sell at auction for $5,000 to $25,000 depending on condition, caliber, and specific features. Exceptional examples with rare features or provenance exceed $30,000. The triple lock name derives from the locking mechanism securing the cylinder. Most revolvers use 2 locking points. The triple lock uses 3, including a third lock at the front of the ejector rod shroud. This provided exceptional cylinder lockup and rigidity. The design was beautiful but expensive to manufacture, and Smith & Wesson simplified it in later models. The triple lock represents a brief period when Smith & Wesson prioritized engineering perfection over manufacturing economy. Only about 15,375 were manufactured during the 7-year production run. Relatively small numbers ensure scarcity. This combination of superb engineering, limited production, and Smith & Wesson's legendary status creates strong collector demand. Caliber significantly affects value. The .44 special chambering is most common and desirable. The .44-40 WCF chambering is rare and commands premiums. The .45 Colt chambering is extremely rare. Only about 21 examples were manufactured, and commands enormous premiums when they appear at auction. Barrel length affects value. 6.5-inch barrels are standard and most common. 5-inch barrels are desirable. 4-inch barrels are rare. Target sights command premiums over standard sights. Condition dramatically affects value. Triple locks are over 100 years old, and most show use and wear. Examples retaining 90% plus original finish command significant premiums. Unfired examples are extremely rare and valuable, routinely exceeding $20,000 to $25,000 at auction. Military and law enforcement markings add value. Some triple locks saw military or police service and bear appropriate markings. British military contracts during World War I resulted in .455 caliber triple locks marked for British service. These are collectible and command premiums. Auction houses value triple locks because they appeal to multiple collector categories: Smith & Wesson collectors, big-bore revolver collectors, and early 20th century firearms collectors. This broad appeal ensures competitive bidding. Number 7. Colt Python, .357 Magnum with factory letter, royal blue, 1955 to 1969. Number 7 is the Colt Python in .357 Magnum. Specifically, early production examples from 1955 to 1969 in royal blue finish with factory documentation. Early royal blue Pythons with factory letters sell at auction for $8,000 to $20,000, plus depending on barrel length, condition, and specific features. 6-inch barrels in exceptional condition command highest prices. While all vintage Pythons are collectible, early production examples represent peak quality. The 1955 to 1969 period encompasses the I-frame designation and early E-frame production. These revolvers received the most extensive hand fitting, the finest finishing, and the most attention to detail. Collectors recognize qualitative differences between early and late production Pythons. The factory letter from Colt documenting original configuration, shipping date, and recipient is essential for maximum value at auction. The letter confirms authenticity and originality, critical factors when dealing with valuable firearms that have been extensively copied, modified, and sometimes faked. Royal blue finish is most desirable. Colt's royal blue was a multi-step polishing and bluing process, creating deep, lustrous finish that's legendary among collectors. Nickel finish is collectible, but generally commands slightly lower prices. Stainless steel Pythons, introduced later, are valuable, but don't reach royal blue prices. Barrel length significantly affects auction results. 6-inch barrels are iconic and command highest prices. 4-inch barrels are desirable and valuable. 8-inch barrels appeal to target shooters and hunters, but generally sell for slightly less. 2.5-inch barrels are extremely rare, fewer than 200 manufactured, and command enormous premiums, often $25,000 plus at auction. Condition is paramount. Early Pythons were expensive when new, and owners often maintained them carefully. However, examples retaining 98% plus original finish command significant premiums over 90 to 95% examples. Unfired examples in original boxes with all paperwork regularly exceed $15,000 to $20,000 at auction. Specific serial number ranges appeal to collectors. Low serial numbers, such as the first 1,000, first 100, or first 10, command premiums. Matching numbers, if accompanied by accessories with matching serial numbers, add value. Auction houses compete for early royal blue pythons with factory letters because they're proven performers. These revolvers consistently generate strong bidding, often exceeding estimates by 30 to 50%. Wealthy collectors building python collections specifically seek early examples, ensuring competition. Number 6. Smith & Wesson Model 29.44 Magnum, no dash, factory letter, unfired. We've reached the halfway point with number 6, the Smith & Wesson Model 29 in .44 Magnum, specifically no dash variants with factory letters in unfired condition. No dash Model 29s meeting these criteria sell at auction for $6,000 to $12,000, depending on barrel length and specific features. Exceptional examples with rare configurations exceed $15,000. No dash Model 29s represent initial production from 1956 until engineering changes created the Model 29-1 designation. These earliest examples received the most careful hand-fitting and attention to detail. Production numbers were relatively low before Dirty Harry fame created enormous demand in the 1970s. Unfired condition is critical. Most Model 29s were working guns shot extensively by hunters, target shooters, and handgun enthusiasts. Finding no dash examples that were purchased, stored, and never fired is extremely rare. Unfired status must be verifiable through bore condition, cylinder condition, and overall preservation. Factory letters from Smith & Wesson documenting original configuration and shipping date are essential. The letter confirms authenticity and proves the gun hasn't been modified or refinished, concerns that always accompany valuable firearms at auction. Barrel length affects value significantly. 6.5-inch barrels are classic and most desirable. 4-inch barrels are less common and command strong prices. 8 3/8-inch barrels appeal to hunters, but generally sell for slightly less. Rare barrel lengths command premiums. Original boxes and paperwork multiply value. A no-dash Model 29 in unfired condition with original box, manual, and factory letter can command 50 to 100% premiums over loose examples. Complete original packaging appeals to high-end collectors building investment-grade collections. Finish matters. Blued finish is standard and most collectible. Nickel finish is rare on no-dash Model 29s and commands premiums. The deep blue Smith & Wesson achieved in the 1950s and 1960s is exceptional. Auction houses pursue unfired no-dash Model 29s with factory letters because they represent time capsules, pristine examples of historically significant revolvers exactly as they left the factory. These appeal to the highest level of Smith & Wesson collectors who accept no compromises. Number 5. Colt New Service .45 Colt United States Military Marked 1909 to 1918. At number 5 is the Colt New Service revolver in .45 Colt with United States military markings from 1909 to 1918 production. Military-marked New Service revolvers in excellent condition sell at auction for $4,000 to $15,000 depending on specific markings, condition, and provenance. Exceptional examples with documented service history exceed $20,000. The New Service was Colt's large-frame revolver designed for powerful cartridges. United States military contracts during the Philippines campaigns and World War I resulted in substantial production of .45 Colt variants marked United States Army Model 1909 or United States Army Model 1917, the latter chambered .45 ACP using half-moon clips. Military provenance creates collectability. These revolvers saw actual military service during significant conflicts. Many served in combat, providing tangible connection to American military history. This historical significance drives values beyond standard commercial new service revolvers. Specific markings dramatically affect value. Clear, crisp military acceptance marks command premiums. Inspectors' cartouches on grips add value. Unit markings are rare and highly desirable. Documented history connecting specific revolvers to units, battles, or individual service members multiplies value exponentially. Condition assessments differ for military firearms. Collectors accept honest wear from military service. Examples showing use but retaining good bores, functioning mechanisms, and clear markings command strong prices. Pristine examples that somehow avoided hard service are rare and extremely valuable. Original military finish and components are essential. Re-blued examples lose significant value. Replaced grips, especially if they lack period-correct inspectors' cartouches, reduce value. Matching serial numbers on all components is ideal. Caliber variations exist. The Model 1909 in .45 Colt is most common among military variants. The Model 1917 in .45 ACP is also common and collectible. Rare military contracts in other calibers command premiums. Auction houses value military new service revolvers because they appeal to multiple collecting categories: Colt collectors, military firearms collectors, and World War I enthusiasts. This broad appeal ensures competitive bidding from diverse collector bases. Number 4. Smith & Wesson Pre-Model Registered Magnum, 1935 to 1938. Number 4 is the Smith & Wesson Registered Magnum, manufactured from 1935 to 1938 before model number designations existed. Registered Magnums at auction sell for $8,000 to $40,000 plus, depending on configuration, condition, and provenance. These represent the most expensive regularly traded Smith & Wesson revolvers, besides rarities and unique pieces. The Registered Magnum was Smith & Wesson's first .357 Magnum revolver and represented their premium offering. Each revolver was built to order with customer-specified barrel length, sights, finish, grips, and other features. Only about 5,500 were manufactured during the 3-year production run, making them genuinely rare. Each Registered Magnum shipped with a registration certificate documenting its specific configuration and the buyer's information. These certificates are essential for maximum value. They prove authenticity and document original configuration. Registered Magnums with original certificates command significant premiums over examples without documentation. Configuration dramatically affects value. Standard barrel lengths were available, but customers could specify any length within reason. Unusual barrel lengths command premiums. Target sights command premiums over fixed sights. Rare finishes, especially nickel, command premiums. Special order features like custom grips or non-standard chamberings create premium valuations. Condition is critical. Registered Magnums are approaching 90 years old. Examples retaining 95% plus original finish are rare and valuable. Unfired examples are extremely rare. These were expensive firearms ordered by serious shooters who typically use them. Unfired Registered Magnums in original boxes with certificates routinely exceed $30,000 to $40,000 at auction. Serial number ranges matter. Early production examples command premiums. Low serial numbers, particularly under 1,000, are desirable. Consecutively numbered pairs or sets command enormous premiums if accompanied by documentation. Number 3. Colt Patterson Revolver, 1836 to 1842. We're into the top 3 with the Colt Patterson Revolver, manufactured from 1836 to 1842 in Patterson, New Jersey. Colt Patterson revolvers at auction sell for $100,000 to $500,000 plus, depending on model, condition, and provenance. These are among the most valuable regularly traded American firearms. The Patterson represents Samuel Colt's first successful revolver design and the beginning of the revolver era. Manufactured at Colt's Patent Arms Manufacturing Company in Patterson, New Jersey, These revolvers featured innovative revolving cylinder mechanisms that revolutionized firearms technology. Several models were manufactured, each with distinct features and values. The pocket model, which is the smallest, is most common but still rare, with perhaps 500 manufactured. The belt model is intermediate in size and value. The holster model, the largest, usually .36 caliber, commands highest prices. Texas Patterson variants used in the Texas Revolution and subsequent conflicts are extremely rare and valuable. Condition assessments acknowledge these revolvers are 180 to 190 years old. Examples retaining significant original finish are extraordinarily rare. Most show honest wear from use and age. Functioning mechanisms command premiums, as many Pattersons are non-functional due to age and use. Matching serial numbers on components are essential. Historical provenance multiplies value exponentially. Pattersons with documented ownership by Texas Rangers, military personnel, or historical figures command enormous premiums. Battle use or documented participation in historical events creates values exceeding standard examples by multiples. Authenticity concerns are paramount. Pattersons are extremely valuable, and fakes, reproductions, and altered guns exist. Expert authentication is essential. Major auction houses employ specialists or require expert evaluation before accepting Pattersons for sale. Number 2. Colt Walker .44 caliber, 1847. Our runner-up is the Colt Walker, manufactured in 1847 in extremely limited numbers. Colt Walker revolvers at auction sell for $400,000 to $1,800,000 plus, depending on condition, markings, and provenance. Only about 1,100 were manufactured, making them among the rarest production Colts. The Walker represents collaboration between Samuel Colt and Captain Samuel Walker of the Texas Rangers. It addressed shortcomings of the Patterson design, creating the most powerful handgun of its era. The massive .44 caliber revolver weighed over 4.5 pounds and delivered unprecedented power. Military contract production went to United States Mounted Rifles, designated A Company, B Company, and so on through E Company, and civilian sales. Military marked examples command highest prices. Company markings are visible and essential for maximum value. Civilian examples without military marks are valuable but sell for less than military examples. Condition dramatically affects value. Walkers are 179 years old and saw hard use in military service and civilian hands. Most show significant wear. Examples retaining significant original finish are extraordinarily rare and valuable. Even well-worn examples with clear markings command six-figure prices. Matching serial numbers are essential. Walker components were numbered and should match. Replaced or mismatched components reduce value significantly. Original components with appropriate wear patterns are crucial. Provenance can multiply values. Walkers with documented military service history, particularly those used in Mexican-American War conflicts, command enormous premiums. Documented ownership by Texas Rangers or military personnel adds value. Functionality matters less than with later revolvers. Collectors understand these are fragile antiques. Non-functioning examples are common and collectible. Functioning examples command premiums but aren't essential for top prices. Auction houses treat Walkers as once-in-a-career opportunities. These revolvers generate international attention, appear in museum exhibitions, and attract institutional buyers and the wealthiest private collectors. Number 1. Factory-engraved Colt Python with presentation case, 1960s to 1970s production. We have reached number 1. Factory-engraved Colt Pythons from 1960s to 1970s production, particularly examples with presentation cases and full documentation. Factory-engraved Pythons sell at auction for $50,000 to $200,000 or more depending on engraving coverage, engraver, condition, and provenance. These represent the absolute pinnacle of Python collecting. Colt offered factory engraving through its custom shop. Options ranged from light border engraving to full coverage with gold inlays. Master engravers including Leonard Francolini, Dennis Keyes, Howard Dove, and Denise Therian produced unique hand-executed works on the Python platform. Engraving coverage strongly affects value. A-style engraving at roughly 25% coverage represents the entry level. B-style at 50% commands higher premiums. C-style at 75% brings significant premiums, while D-style full coverage commands the highest prices. Gold inlays substantially increase value. Specific engravers matter enormously. Leonard Francolini, Colt's longtime master engraver, produced work that is instantly recognizable and highly prized. His engraved pythons regularly exceed $100,000 at auction. Other period masters like Alvin Herbert or A. White and his shop also command strong premiums. Presentation cases multiply value.